um, somewhere right now in a room you're not in a quiet moment you're not witnessing, in the middle of an ordinary day that is about to become anything but ordinary for the person living it. Someone just made a decision about you, not the kind of decision that gets made slowly, carefully, after extensive deliberation and the careful weighing of pros and cons. The other kind, the kind that arrives all at once, fully formed, with the particular clarity of something that has been true for a long time, finally being acknowledged as such. The kind that lands in a person's chest like a key turning in a lock, not dramatic, not loud, just suddenly and completely and irreversibly open. And the decision they made is this: you completely, without qualification, without condition, without the hedging and the half commitments and the carefully maintained ambiguity that has defined whatever has existed between you up until this exact moment in time. They looked at their own life, at the options in it, at the people in it, at everything that is not you, and they felt the absence of you in a way they could no longer rationalize or manage or file away under the category of things they'd figure out later. And in that moment of feeling your absence as an actual, specific, unbearable lack, they understood something they should have understood sooner. There is no later, there is now. And now they are coming for you. Before we go any further, if something just moved in your chest reading those words, if a face came to mind so quickly it surprised you, subscribe to this channel and drop the word claimed in the comments right now. Because what I'm about to show you in these cards is going to take everything you thought you understood about where this connection stood and turn it completely on its head. The energy that hit me when I sat down with your cards today was unlike anything I've felt in a reading recently. Because most of the time when I connect to someone's romantic field, what I find is movement, slow, gradual, the sense of things developing in the direction of something. Today, what I found was not movement. What I found was arrival. The specific energetic signature of someone who has already covered the distance in their own heart and is now simply closing the physical and practical gap between where they are and where you are. They are not on their way. They are essentially already there. Everything internal has been decided, everything emotional has been resolved. The only thing left is the moment of expression, the conversation, the gesture, the undeniable act of showing up in your life in a way that makes what they feel impossible to misinterpret. And that moment is so close right now that I can feel the pressure of it in these cards. The particular compressed energy of something that has been building and building and has finally run out of room to keep building without releasing. Let me tell you what has been happening inside this person. Because their journey to this decision, the internal road they've traveled to get to the place of complete certainty they're standing in right now, is one of the most important parts of this reading. Understanding it will change how you receive what's coming. There was a period, and for some of you, this period was recent. For others, it stretches back further than you realize when this person tried something. They tried to see if they could want someone else the way they want you, not out of cruelty or indifference to what exists between you, but out of the very human impulse to try to make feelings fit into something more convenient, more available, more obviously attainable. They looked at their life and at the connections in it and made a genuine attempt to redirect what they felt towards something that seemed simpler. It didn't work. Not because the other options were without merit, not because they weren't trying, but because you had already done something to their internal world that could not be undone simply by redirecting attention elsewhere. You had set a standard without intending to, that everything else kept failing to meet. Not in grand dramatic ways, in the small, constant, everyday ways that are actually more revealing than any grand gesture. The way a conversation felt compared to conversations with you. The way someone's presence felt compared to your presence. The particular quality of feeling seen or not seen when measured against what it felt like to be in your company. Everything kept falling short, and that persistent shortfall, repeated enough times, produced a clarity that no amount of deliberate redirection had been able to produce. The clarity that you are not replaceable, not transferable, not something that can be approximated by the nearest available alternative. You are the specific thing, the actual thing, and they have run out of ways to pretend otherwise. Now I want to speak to what has been happening on your side of this dynamic, because the cards are not just showing me their journey, they're showing me yours. And what I see in your energy around this person is something that Virgo does so well, it almost becomes a problem. You have been patient, extraordinarily, almost heroically patient. You have given this situation time and space and the benefit of every doubt that could possibly be extended. You have watched and waited and observed and continued showing up with your characteristic steadiness and refused to create drama or issue ultimatums or make demands that the situation resolve itself on your timeline. That patience is one of your greatest qualities. And it has also been, in this specific situation, something that this person may have slightly taken for granted. Not out of malice, out of the very human tendency to not feel urgency about something that seems reliably present. Your steadiness, your groundedness, your refusal to be destabilized by ambiguity, all of it communicated without your intending it to, that you would be there. That the connection would hold regardless. That there was no particular pressure to resolve things because you weren't going anywhere. But something changed. And this is the part that I find most interesting in these cards and most important to name clearly. Something happened, something you did or said or stopped doing or stopped saying, something shifted in how available you were or how present you seemed that introduced, for the first time, the genuine possibility of your absence. Not a threat, not a strategy, just a real and authentic shift in your own energy that came through to them as she is not going to wait indefinitely. She is not infinitely available. She has a life that is moving forward with or without this being resolved. And if I don't move soon, I am going to be on the wrong side of that forward motion. And that realization, that quiet, slightly terrifying realization that you are not a guaranteed constant, but an actual person with actual choices who might actually make a different one is what accelerated everything. What took the slow building of their feelings and converted it into the urgent, directional, I am coming to get you energy that is pouring off these cards right now. You didn't manipulate this. You didn't engineer it. You simply became more fully yourself, more aligned with your own worth, more honest about your own time being valuable, more present in your own life rather than in the waiting room of someone else's. And that becoming is what changed the entire dynamic. Let me describe what this person's specific energy feels like right now, because I want you to be able to recognize it when it enters your space. because it's going to feel different from how they've shown up before, noticeably different. And I don't want that difference to catch you off guard or make you uncertain when it should be making you certain. There is a possessiveness in them right now that is completely new. Not a controlling possessiveness, not the kind that comes from insecurity or the need to dominate. The other kind, the kind that says, I know what this is, and I know what I want, and I am not willing to stand by and watch someone else have what should be mine. The kind that is rooted in genuine love and genuine recognition of value rather than in ego. The kind that makes a person show up differently, more direct, more decisive, more willing to be completely transparent about their intentions rather than keeping things comfortably undefined. They are going to be clear with you. For possibly the first time in this connection, you are not going to have to interpret or wonder or read between lines. They are going to say the thing directly with the specific courage of someone who has decided that being understood matters more than being protected, that the risk of full honesty is smaller than the cost of continued ambiguity, that you deserve to know exactly where they stand and what they want and what they are prepared to offer. What they are prepared to offer is everything, Virgo, not as an exaggeration, as an actual description of their internal posture in this moment. They are coming to you with nothing held back. No exit strategy, no 1 foot in and 1 foot out, no carefully maintained ambiguity that allows them to retreat without loss if things get uncomfortable. They are all in, and they want you to know it in terms clear enough that there is absolutely no room for misinterpretation. The no one else can have you but me energy that's in the title of this reading that is not poetic license. That is a precise description of what is moving in them. There is a fierce, loving, completely serious conviction in this person that you belong in their life and they belong in yours, and that any configuration of reality in which someone else gets to love you the way they intend to love you is one they are not willing to accept. That conviction is driving everything. It is the engine underneath the urgency, the clarity, the sudden decisive movement after what may have felt like too long a period of standing still. I want to take a moment here to speak to what this means for you practically, because receiving this kind of energy, this particular quality of being fully claimed, fully chosen, completely and unambiguously wanted is going to require something from you that may not come naturally. It's going to require you to believe it, not provisionally, not with the quiet asterisk of maybe this changes, maybe this doesn't last, maybe I should protect myself by not fully believing it yet, fully with the same completeness with which it's being offered. Because here is what I know about Virgo and love. You are extraordinarily good at loving. You are thorough and attentive and loyal and completely committed when you are in, but you have a complicated relationship with being loved, with receiving it, with letting it all the way in without immediately beginning to evaluate its structural integrity, looking for the weak points, preparing yourself for the moment it might fail. That preparation, that preemptive self-protection, creates a subtle distance between you and the love that's being offered. A slight glass wall. The person on the other side of it can see you, can feel your warmth and your intelligence and everything they love about you, but they can also feel that something is not quite fully reached. That you are receiving them with 90% of yourself, while 10% stands slightly apart, watching, evaluating, ready to pull back at the first sign of danger. What I'm asking you to do, what these cards are asking you to do, what this person who is moving towards you right now deserves from you is to take the glass wall down, not recklessly, not naively, but genuinely to make the decision before they arrive that you are going to be as fully present in receiving this as they are in offering it, that you are going to let it land completely rather than partially, that you are going to trust, really trust, not perform, trust that what's coming toward you is real enough to be met with the full, unguarded weight of who you actually are. You are safe to do that here. The cards are telling me this clearly, and I want to tell it to you just as clearly. This is not a situation that requires your protection. This is a situation that requires your presence. Let me tell you what life looks like on the other side of saying yes to this. What the cards are showing me about the shape of what becomes possible when you let this person fully into the version of your life they've been trying to reach. There is a quality of being known that I keep seeing in the cards that I want to describe as precisely as I can, because I think it's the thing Virgo wants most and asks for least. Not known in the way of someone who has read your bio and paid attention in conversations. Known in the way of someone who has studied you, not deliberately, not as a project, but in the way that happens naturally when someone is so interested in who you are that they cannot help but accumulate the details. Known in the way where they finish your thought, not because they're interrupting, but because they actually knew where it was going, where they notice when something is slightly off in your energy before you've said a word, where they remember the small things, the specific things that you mentioned once without thinking and assumed were forgotten. That kind of knowing is what this person offers. And what it creates in a relationship, the specific texture of daily life with someone who knows you that well, is a quality of rest that is genuinely difficult to describe to someone who hasn't experienced it. Not laziness, not stagnation, the rest of not having to explain yourself, of not having to translate, of being in a space where who you are is so thoroughly understood that you can simply be it without the subtle performance that social life usually requires, even with people we love. You are tired of translating yourself, Virgo. You may not have named it that, but it's there in your energy, the specific exhaustion of someone who is deeply, fully, richly themselves in private and has to do a certain amount of compression and simplification to be understood in the world. This person does not require that compression. They read the full version and they prefer it. I also see in these cards a partnership with genuine momentum. Two people who are not just emotionally aligned, but directionally aligned, moving towards similar things, building towards something real, creating a life together that has the quality of genuine collaboration rather than compromise, where your specific Virgo gifts the attention to detail, the commitment to doing things properly, the deep loyalty, the quiet brilliance that operates underneath the surface are not just tolerated, but genuinely useful to someone who sees them clearly and values them specifically. And I see laughter. This sounds small, and it is not small. It is actually one of the most important things I see because it tells me something crucial about the nature of what this connection offers at its core. There is a particular ease between you two, a natural, unforced, completely genuine lightness that doesn't require the right circumstances or the right mood to emerge. It is just there in the texture of how you interact, in the rhythm of how your specific kinds of humor and intelligence meet each other. The kind of laughter that happens not because someone is performing funniness, but because two people find the same things genuinely delightful and are never quite sure which one of them is going to notice the thing first. That lightness, that ease, that laughter, it is part of what they are coming to claim, part of what they realize they could not find anywhere else in the precise combination in which it exists with you. There is something I want to say before we close because it's been present in the energy of this entire reading and I have been building toward it, and I think you already know what it is. Stop waiting for permission to want this. You know that you want it. You have known for longer than you fully admitted to yourself. There is a version of you that has been sitting with this, wanting very quietly, very privately, very carefully holding it at a slight distance, even from yourself, not letting it fully surface into conscious acknowledgement, because wanting something this much before you knew whether it was available felt like too great a vulnerability, felt like setting yourself up, felt like the particular foolishness of counting on something that hadn't yet declared itself. It is declaring itself right now, in real time, as you watch this reading. The person I've been describing is in motion toward you with everything they have and everything they feel and everything they have decided they are no longer willing to live without. The permission you've been waiting for, the confirmation that the wanting is mutual, that the ground is solid enough to stand on fully, that you are not alone in this, is arriving. You are allowed to want this completely. You are allowed to be excited. You are allowed to let down the careful management of your own hope and simply feel what you feel without the protective layer of not quite believing it. Because it's real and it's yours. And the only thing left to do is be there when it arrives, fully there, completely present, genuinely open, and let it be the thing it actually is. Come back and tell me what happened. Tell me how it arrived. Tell me if you felt the shift in their energy before they said anything. Tell me if there was a moment where you had to decide whether to let the wall down and what it felt like when you chose to let it down. Those comments are not just engagement, they are the confirmation that what these cards show is real, that real people watching in real time recognize their own lives in what comes through. Drop claimed if this found you today. Drop anything at all. Just let me know you are here, that this landed, that something in these cards touched something true. You've been unclaimed long enough, Virgo. Not anymore. I'll see you in the next one. Stay open,